Natural gas rationing has begun, Michael Snyder reports. The global energy crisis has entered an alarming new stage. In recent months, natural gas prices have risen to absurd heights, and supplies have been getting tighter and tighter all over the planet. But I did not expect that we would see any rationing yet, and it's been my opinion that we could possibly see some limited rationing once we reach the worst moments of the winter. But apparently, things are worse than I thought. In fact, when I heard about what is going on in Pakistan right now, I was absolutely horrified. Pakistan has no other option but to ration natural gas supply this winter, with gas provided 3 times a day for cooking to households amid acute shortages and a forex crisis in the world's fifth most populous country, an official from the Petroleum Ministry told the Parliament panel this week. The energy crisis in Pakistan has deepened this year, and now natural gas supplies will be very limited for households, according to officials. How would you feel if your natural gas was turned off throughout the winter except for meal times? It's been reported that Pakistani households will only have their natural gas turned on for 3 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the afternoon, and 3 hours in the evening. There would be no gas supply to household consumers for 16 hours a day, Mohammed Mahmood told the Parliament's Standing Committee on Petroleum, as carried by the local outlet Dawn. Pakistani households will have gas available for 3 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the afternoon, 3 hours in the evening, Mohammed said. Mahmood said, I had no idea the conditions were already so bad in Pakistan, and there are some in the business community that would like to make natural gas rationing for Pakistani households a permanent feature throughout the year. Appreciating the judicious decision of natural gas rationing for domestic consumers, the business community has urged the government to make this prudent decision a permanent feature throughout the year, as 50% of total gas in Pakistan is consumed by households, which is one of major hindrances in economic growth of the country. With prices for imported natural gas being so high, it's probably inevitable that other poor countries will be forced to implement similar measures. Needless to say, that is really, really bad news. Thanks to relentless stockpiling ahead of time, things will not be quite as bad for Europe this winter as many had originally anticipated, but Europeans could still be facing occasional blackouts, and they will definitely have to deal with sky-high energy bills. In 1972, natural gas export from the Soviet Union accounted for around 4% of European gas consumption. By 2021, Russia was providing almost 40% of Europe's gas. As Moscow's market share has gradually increased, so has its ability to manipulate prices and trigger crises. Most Europeans now acknowledge that this reliance on Russia represents a major strategic blunder, but it's too late. Europe's green energy transition features one major flaw: it relies on Russian gas imports. Back to the future. This will be an extremely difficult winter for all Europeans, whether they face blackouts or heating issues and sky-high energy bills. The good news, if you want to call it that, is that European fertilizer production is starting to bounce back a bit, thank goodness. At one point, European fertilizer output had been cut by nearly two-thirds, but now it's back to 63%. Norway's Yara International, one of the world's largest fertilizer companies, said that it was now operating at 65% of its European ammonia capacity, having slashed output to just over a third of its total capacity for much of the second half of this year. Commodity research firm CRU International Limited said Yara's moves are in line with other producers. Overall, European fertilizer output is now about 63% of total capacity, having previously stood at around 37% at the start of October, CRU said. So let's hope that that number continues to rise, because fertilizer prices are really insanely high. As those prices continue to rise, the UN's Food and Agriculture Organization is warning that the global food crisis that we are witnessing could get substantially worse. Higher costs for imported energy and fertilizer are behind the foreseen increase. Both are particularly relevant in import bills, posing strains for the current accounts of low-income and lower middle-income countries, the report said, adding that as a result, some countries may be forced to reduce input applications, almost inevitably resulting in lower agricultural productivity and lower domestic food availability. Here in the United States, those that rely on natural gas for heating are likely to see much higher bills this winter. At this point, things are looking particularly grim in New England, with a global natural gas supply stretching thin. Eversource and other utility companies have been sounding the alarm. Bills have already gone up, or have been going up for some. Eyewitness News ran into someone in Berlin who describes how one of her bills increased to over $200. Even though bills will be going up quite a bit, ISO New England is assuring everyone that there won't be any shortages as long as winter conditions are mild or moderate. While Eversource has sounded the alarm, ISO New England, the region's electricity grid operator, is still saying we should be okay for the season. ISO New England said there's enough supply for mild and moderate winter conditions. Unfortunately, Eversource is not as confident. In fact, Eversource is actually asking Joe Biden to waive the Jones Act so that it can secure more natural gas supplies for the upcoming winter season. The CEO for New England's largest utility, Eversource Energy, called on President Biden in a letter last week to enact federal emergency orders to swiftly address the growing concerns of New England's access, or lack thereof, to natural gas this winter heating season. New England, which lacks the natural gas pipeline infrastructure to fill out its demand, relies on LNG shipments to its 3 liquefied natural gas import facilities on foreign flagged ships, CEO Joseph Nolan said. However, because of the war in Ukraine, LNG imports are not available in the volumes necessary to meet this winter's needs without causing further stress on European markets and the American economy, he said. We're still over a month away from the official start of winter. If authorities are scrambling this much already, what will things be like once we get to January and February? Without a doubt, this will be a winter like no other. But I actually expect the following winters to be even worse. So enjoy this winter while you can, because the years ahead are going to be exceedingly challenging. The global elite desperately want to move us away from traditional forms of energy, and they promised us that the Green Revolution would change everything. Well, everything is definitely about to change, but not in a good way. This is by Michael Snyder. He says, "My name is Michael, and my brand new book entitled End Times is now available on Amazon. In addition to my new book, I've written 6 other books that are available on Amazon, including 7-Year Apocalypse, Lost Prophecies of the Future of America, The Beginning of the End, and Living a Life That Really Matters, commissions earned. When you purchase any of these books, you help to support the work that I'm doing, and one way that you can really help is by sending copies as gifts to family and friends. Time is short, and I need help getting these warnings into the hands of as many people as possible. I have published thousands of articles on the Economic Collapse blog, End of the American Dream, and The Most Important News, and the articles that I publish on those sites are republished on dozens of other prominent websites all over the globe. I always freely and happily allow others to republish my articles on their own websites, but I also ask that they include this about the author section with each article. The material contained in this article is for general information purposes only, and readers should consult licensed professionals before making any legal, business, financial, or health decisions. I encourage you to follow me on social media on Facebook and Twitter, and any way that you can share these articles with others is definitely a great help. These are such troubled times, and people need hope. John 3:16 tells us about the hope that God has given us through Jesus Christ. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. If you've not already done so, I strongly urge you to invite Jesus Christ to be your Lord and Savior today. And this is on the Economic Collapse blog by Michael Snyder. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.